talk around the table is the heart of Dali Tambo's new season of People of the South. As a husband and involved father of four, he knows that home is where the soul of the story lies. His own house tells you that art and culture have always colored his activism, life and personality.
This is quite the entrance, I must say.
Oh, thank you. The balls, you see, it's my garden art.
Yeah.
It's to get me over my obsession with squares.
The first great figures in Dali's life were his parents, Oliver and Adelaide Tambo. So he's always been fascinated by lives less ordinary.
After 10 years of being off air, why did you decide to bring the show back?
It was a number of things. My daughter came to me back from school one day and said, "Daddy, is it true you used to be on TV?" And I actually couldn't believe it, that she was 10 years old, I'd been off for 10 years, so she didn't have any concept that I was ever on television. And because during those 10 years I'd watched so many people, I thought, I didn't do him, I didn't do her, I wish I could do that person, etc. So I missed making People of the South, and I just felt it was a good time to bring it back.
Interviewing people like President Jacob Zuma or Robert Mugabe and his wife, I'm sure for you it's a lot of extensive research and preparation.
Yeah, it is. I'd forgotten about, actually, over the 10 years, how much research we used to do. But I was reminded, because we've got thick files on old guests. We're kind of like the CIA. We've got a room full of intelligence on people.
And the iconic cushion that you had on every show, has it made its way back into this new season?
Yes, we did, because we agonized a bit about it. Some people find them corny, but all the guests I've spoken to, and I'll see people who I interviewed 15 years ago, and they'll say to me, "Dali, I've still got that cushion on my couch, just like you put an award on your mantelpiece." I'd like to present you with a People of the South cap and this cushion.
Well, thank you so much. It's an honor.
Try it on, try it on.
How does it look?
Another hat Dali wears is CEO of the National Heritage Monument, funded by the National Lotteries Board. Once complete, it'll be a park with 400 sculptures in Pretoria, honoring all who fought for freedom.
It's traversing 350 plus years of South African history, but through these personalities, so that they're not just names anymore, they're real individuals. We've researched them. How did they look? What was their height? What did they wear? They're all walking on a long march to freedom. And it shows a continuous caliber of leadership amongst our ancestors. My brief to the sculptors was, you're reincarnating these people, and that means you can't just do a cold statue. You have to give the humanity and the vulnerability.
Artist Louis Olivier is working on the figure of Alfred Mangena, the first black South African to qualify as an attorney and then solicitor.
Now, Louis, this is quite a tedious process. How do you make it look as great as it does at the end?
Quite a restful stages of, first of all, getting the attire right and finding the right clothes for this guy, and then finding the suit, finding the right model, someone that would depict this person, and yeah, from there on it's getting your hands dirty and putting the clay on and work it. I mean, the guys will actually tell you that there was times where I was frustrated with this thing, and it's almost like you become in a fight with this guy, and you wrestle him and you work him and you rework him until he comes alive. And there's almost as if there's a moment where it's like, there he is now, and we can start with the finer details.
The first 25 sculptures create great drama on temporary display at Bloemfontein's Olivenhuis Art Museum. It's a heritage Dali had to wait a long time to claim as his own.
Now, you spent 30 years in exile. Besides your accent, what else about you is British?
Not a lot, because I think your heart is who you are. I got culture. I got a lot of worldliness from those years in exile, but I still to this day look at exile as a deep wound, as if someone cut a slice of me off, because I lost my people's culture in those 30. I left when I was 1, I came back when I was 31.
One part of our culture he prizes is the cuisine. It led him to the love of his life, Rachel, who, by the way, makes an unbeatable biryani and an even better milk tart.
How did the two of you meet? Rachel, I understand he was taken by your smile.
Well, that's very true.
And her legs. And her legs, very important. No, I mean, I was at a point in my life where I was looking for love. I'd come back to South Africa, and I remember going into this restaurant to meet a friend of mine, Roddy Quinn, and seeing this beautiful lady who was managing the place at the time walk up to me, and the way she smiled at me and my feelings towards her were so immediate, and it's never dropped since.
Rachel, was it love at first sight for you?
It was total love at first sight. You know, I mean, this is going over almost 2 decades ago, and we'll be celebrating our 15th wedding anniversary this June.
What makes the marriage work? What's the secret?
Every day, I tell her many, many times a day how much I love her.
We actually got a bit soppy, maybe, I don't know.
And then the children, you know, from our first, Oliver, who was actually born on my father's birthday. I rang my mother at 9 o'clock in the evening. She was in the Northwest Province, and she was addressing 500 people. I said to her, your grandson has been born, and she couldn't believe it. But she left her cell phone on. So I heard her announcing to 500 people in this hall on her cell phone, Oliver Tambo has been born. And there was a little silence and then cheers, massive cheers. I think it took them a while to get it.
The two of you are really big into your cycling, I understand.
I started cycling, then my wife joined me. We've now done 4 94.7s, we've done 2 Arguses.
Whenever we do ride, we always ride for a purpose. We ride for CHOC, and CHOC is a foundation that treats childhood cancer. So there's a whole bunch of fabulous people called the Cows who raise a lot of money and a lot of awareness around that.
We wear cow outfits.
We wear cow
when we
outfits
cycle.
and
we go, moo.
ooh, yes.
Well, you spoke about dieting and getting fit. I think it's a bit difficult when your wife is such a good cook.
You see this milk tart, it's 4 hills. 1 slice of this, I have to do 4 big hills to lose the calories for this piece of milk tart.
Wow, that is brilliant. I think any girl I meet from now on has to have a great smile, great legs, and know how to make a good milk tart.
Dali and Rachel have a 10-year-old daughter, Anastasia, and 3 boys, Oliver, 13, Dante, 7, and 4-year-old Samora.
Dali, with your dad being as busy as he was, I'm sure you're very conscious as to how much time you get to spend with your kids.
Absolutely. I made a promise to them, to myself and to my wife, that they would have a different life to mine. In mine, I was at boarding schools all the time. My mother was in England, away from her husband, away from her children. And I wanted to ensure that our children grew up in a home where both mother and father are there. And although there was tremendous love between my parents and us, that physical presence is so important.
That's Dali. Catch other significant South Africans on People of the South, Sunday nights 8:30 on SABC3.